Alright guys, so this video is going to be working on the fabric part of the book. It's going to be in the same spot as the leather, but you can see we have a few details here where we have to remove the fabric on the corners. We have the triangle and a good chunk of the bind. We also don't want the fabric to be visible there. For now though, what we want to do is try to get something like the material that's relatively close to this fabric in the reference. I'm not too concerned about the stains and color variation. We can add that later, but I'm trying to get that diagonal sort of weave we're seeing in the fabric. That's my main concern. So I'm going to make a new folder. We're going to put this above the leather, so it's even layered just like it would be built in real life. Fabric covers the leather, not the other way around. And under the materials, I've done a search for fabric. We have a bunch of different ones that could work. The fabric, baseball hat was pretty good. Soft denim, the rough I think was decent. And we've had a few people use the fabric denim base that also worked out pretty well. We'll try this guy today. Let's do fabric denim base. Kind of cool, right? We have some nice detail in this one. What I'm going to do real fast here, though, is go up to the translation area. Let's just rotate this a little bit because I kind of want to get more of a diagonal line from it. Yeah, let's flip it the other direction. And pull that back. There, a little more, and right about there. That should work out pretty well, like somewhere around here. Okay, so rotation looks pretty good. Scale's not too bad. That might be a little too big compared to the reference. Like maybe do like a 2 or like a 1.5 scale, just to shrink that size down a little bit. And down here, let's see, do we have any parameters for the color? We do not, but that's okay. So this is an interesting one and something we're going to run into with a couple different materials. And I'm kind of glad we ran into this with the fabric denim base. So sometimes when you grab a preset, it is not going to have all... Now you'll notice I do have a roughness control, which we'll kind of talk about later, but I don't have color, and I've been using that a lot to kind of color pick from reference. So let's just ignore that for a second. We'll fix this in another video. For now, let's just worry about the masking. So what we're going to do is go back to the group it's in, and we're going to start this off just like we did with the leather. So with the group selected, we're going to do a black mask. Okay, it all disappears. We've seen that before. And then what we're going to do is go over here. We're going to add a paint effect. Okay, and let me actually go to my brushes real quick. I'm going to go back to basic soft. Basic soft, by the way, for your brushes. If you ever accidentally click on a different brush, like I had done in between my videos here, go back to basic soft to kind of reset it to the default. But I'm really just doing this paint effect layer so I can do the same polygon fill. So we're going to click UV chunk, it's set to white. We're going to click on those two sections. So right here, right there. So it's only visible in those two areas. Just double check. Yep, that looks correct. Good. All right, now we want to remove areas to control where the leather is going to be visible or where the fabric's not visible. So my issue is if I hold down Option and click on the mask, this is going to show me what the mask currently looks like. So we're having all white across this part. What I want to do, if we kind of look at the reference, let's just back up a little bit. I want to get black visible in these sections in the corner, little triangle cutouts, and then I also want to do a giant strip of black on the bind to remove the fabric there. So basically we're just painting black to remove some of the sections. This is a good starting point, but let's go back to the material. I don't want to mess up my current paint layer because I'm kind of happy with the way that worked. We're going to add a new paint effect, and we're going to do all the modifications on this one, not the one beneath it. So let's try doing the little line first, okay? So I'm going to come over here, and I'm trying to figure out where that line right there needs to sit with this guy. Okay, so let's go over here. We've got our brush. Let's click back on the brush tool, and we're going to command right click up, just to make that a little sharper, something kind of like this. And I want to draw a straight line. So what I'm going to do is, instead of me trying to hand draw this, because it's not going to look very good once it updates. Oh, I'm probably painting white. You want to paint black to remove information. So if you'll notice, if I kind of paint down, it's taking some of that away. I want to draw a straight line though, so I'm going to actually do a little trick here where we click at the top, hold shift, go down here, shift click. That draws a nice straight line between 2 points. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's kind of compare that. Yeah, that's not too far off. I could maybe go in a little farther though. So let's just move it over, click, come right down there. The little help tool is going to keep popping up. That's a little annoying, but not a big deal. There, I'm just clicking again to kind of push the line out a little more. Now from here, I can just kind of quickly paint to fill this in. Okay, so we're going to zoom in here, command right click, bring the brush up, and I'm basically just painting black to remove that part of the mask. It is a little slow for me because of the video recording, but when you guys do this, it'll probably be a little quicker. Okay, let's come down here, quickly fill all this stuff in. Okay, that's pretty good. Looks decent, and I want to get this bottom part to line up with that one, so I have to do the same thing there. So let's just bring that down a little bit, and I kind of have to do a little guesswork, but let's try right about there. Shift click down to there. Oh, actually, it's not that far off. That might work. I think I kind of got lucky on that one. Little more off on there, so that would be, I think the top is what's off. Let's try this again. Let's try that to, let's try this one more time, right about there. That's probably pretty close. So let's just paint black and fill that in. You'll notice it is a little hard to see this because this whole underside of the book is in shadow. So what I can do is use the C key to toggle between my material properties, which is another setting up here in the drop down. So I'm going to hit C until I get to base color. And because base color removes the lighting, it might make it a little easier for you just to kind of gauge what's kind of going on here. But I think overall, this does look close enough where I think it's going to work. Okay, let's hit M, go back to material. Now, same thing here for the corners, right? We want those little triangular cutouts. Now, this one I noticed before when I've kind of done this, it's a little bit of a pain to keep painting diagonal lines to get it to be right, because like you have to get the angle perfect, and it took me quite a few attempts to get that right. But there's a little trick here. We could actually go up to the alphas. I'm going to do a search for triangle, and we're going to use this guy right here called triangle square. This other one right here would also work pretty well, the regular old triangle. Let's do triangle square. So we're going to click on that. And currently I'm painting black, right? So do I want black? Well, if I option click on the mask, we do, right? Because black means it's going to remove that part of the layer. Perfect. So we're going to go back to material. I'm going to keep the color on black. I'm going to hold down Command left click, spin it, until we get it right about a 90-degree turn, so it's nice and angled. We're going to Command right click to scale it up, and I'm going to paint. Now I want to go back here and just double check my brush settings. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, so I reset my brush earlier to the basic soft, and you'll notice that there's something called alignment, tangent wrap. Watch what happens when I click down here, like right there. Give it a second. Oh, sorry, I'm not on the paint layer. Let's try that again. I was on the mask. Make sure you're on the paint effect, not the mask itself. There we go. Now you'll notice it looks visually like it kind of worked, right? Maybe the triangle's a little too small, so I'll scale it up. We'll make it a little bit bigger. Let's try that. Okay, it's moved in. Okay, let's just fix the rotation. We'll go up even a little bigger, and we'll do this one more time. So I'm just clicking over and over. There we go. Now this pushed in quite a bit. Let me undo it, and we'll just do that a little farther back, like right there. All right. Now let's just say we think this is a pretty good spot. There's a small issue. You can see how it's not really filling in everything. Look what's happening here. So you'll notice that when I'm painting, even though I'm painting in 2D on the UVs, it's acting like I'm only painting vertically above the model in the 3D view. So this is something that's just going to take a little practice, but the alignment settings control how the brush reacts with your viewport. So tangent wrap, you can kind of think of it more as being a three-dimensional effect. If we do UV, what UV is going to do is treat this more like a 2D effect, and we're able to understand that it needs to overlap with those other pieces. So we're just going to put it right about the same spot and then click. And see how that now goes underneath? That solved our issue. Okay, let's kind of come up here. Let's do the same thing. So I'm going to command left click. We're just going to spin that guy around right about there. And let's just try something like that. See how we did. Pretty good. Maybe a little small, but that's not bad. I can just move it in a little bit. All right, yeah, I think it looks decent. Let's try to get the alignment right on the other sections. Okay, so that needs to happen on the bottom. So let's come over here, and we're going to click right about there. A little too far out. Let's try it again. That looks good. Not bad. Close enough where I think it would pass if we saw it in the scene. Okay, let's come down here and do the same thing. So command left click, we're going to rotate that right about like that, and let's just see what we get. So click, and a little too much maybe, so we're just going to ease that back just a tiny bit. There we go, that's a little closer. Not bad. Let's just move it in a tiny bit. There we go, I like that. Good. So now I've used the triangle alpha to basically create these little cool custom corners where we're removing the detail. Now if I option click back on the mask, just so you can kind of see what we've done. This is what the mask currently looks like. So see how before we kind of had just white across the whole surface, and now we have these areas where we've painted black with brushes and alphas to kind of get a much more customized effect that is accurate to the reference. And in the next video, we're going to kind of keep refining this, and we're going to get the gold trim in place, and then after that, we'll start talking about matching colors and adding all these cool texture details to the project.